Because there's a story that the Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources has blamed the extent of damage caused by Akosombo Dam spillage on the refusal of residents living along the dam to evacuate prior to the spillage. We know the number of people who've been affected already. Now, according to the story, the minister, while sympathizing with the affected persons, emphasized the cost the government must incur to provide relief to the victims. She spoke during a forum organized by the Ghana Water Company. Here is Frida Rempe speaking.
We don't want what has happened at Akosombo to happen to us in Accra. The Akosombo spillage, even though VRA, NADMO, the Water Resources Commission came together to educate the people in the community, did simulation exercises with them, even at Mepe. Yet, they refused to leave. They didn't want to be evacuated. They stayed there till the end when we started spilling. Unfortunately, look at what is happening. And government has to spend millions of money on relief items, on education. The whole area, the water is contaminated. And what Ghana Water and Water Resources Commission would have to spend money, millions of money to treat the water before we can pass it through our pipes. So a stitch in time saves nine. But sometimes it's difficult to accept the situation. We cannot continue to sit back and allow these things to go on. Looking at what is happening at Akosombo. Now, people are blaming government, people are blaming VRA, people are blaming NADBO. But these three institutions really did a lot of education right from January. Even in September, they were still talking to their people to move because there was a likelihood they were going to spill in the next week or two. And because of the rainfall patterns have changed, climate change, you cannot anticipate when it will rain. So even if they start spilling on a very gradual note, the rains will also fall and the dams will keep on coming up.
Yeah, so that was the Minister for Sanitation speaking to newsmen. I think this was a couple of days ago.
She was at a forum organized by the Ghana Water Company Limited and its customers in Accra.
Was this yesterday?
Yes.
I see. Was that the same event that we are told about the losses and all those things?
I'm not too sure about
All right.
that. But listen, very disappointing. Okay. And this habit, and we've had a bit of it with government officials, state institutions, victim blaming for their own lack of action and always looking to absolve themselves of blame. It's almost always somebody else's fault. You know, it started with fix the country, they say fix yourself. This is basically what she's saying. That we did what we had to do, you didn't do what you had to do. Now, it's pretty disappointing to hear from a sector minister because you would expect her to be better prepared for some of these things in terms of what she would say publicly about it. She's trying to empathize, yes. But in trying to empathize, is saying that, well, we did our jobs, you didn't do your job. Does the evidence support the fact that you did your job? No. You did simulations in Mefe and other places. When the incident occurred, did these people look like they had been trained? You said you had been preparing. The people were supposed to evacuate and you said they didn't evacuate. Where were the people supposed to be evacuated to? Had medical setups been put in place? Had food been put in place? Had potable water connections been put in place prior? Not post-o, pre. Because if you are preparing for an evacuation, these camps, these temporary shelters, temporary water, everything would have been put in place before the people would have left. So that people know that if I am leaving my small building in Mefe, in all these places that we have visited, I am heading towards this safe haven. Bernard, you visited safe havens. Mr. Sky, you visited safe havens. Did any of those safe havens look like they had been prepared by NADMO and all those people to receive people? Even if those people had decided to evacuate willingly, did those places look like they were prepared to receive evacuees? No, they did not. So when you come and then you start victim blaming that now the government has to spend money, of course the government has to spend money. Of course the government has to spend money. Because if the institutions that do this work, NADMO, which is the coordinating agency for this, and perhaps her ministry and all its attendant agencies had done their work properly, you would have a very uniform evacuation process. You would know that it would cover A, B, C, D. Now, if you look at the places where the simulation was held, are those the only places that have been affected? No. Those are not the only places that have
Simulation
been
was done in 3 districts.
In 3 districts.
So far, we have about 7 or 8 districts with lots of flooding.
So those other districts, they don't know, where were they supposed to go? You are looking at 20,000 people.
It's now 33,000.
I'm coming.
Calculations.
Let me just keep it at safely 20,000 people. You are expecting 20,000 people to leave behind their homes and farmlands. Most of these people work on the farms. They eat from the farms. It's not like they have refrigerators or something that they put their food in or go to the market. It's hand to mouth.
Yeah.
They should leave these places and go to a place that you have set for them. But up at the time that they were supposed to go, nothing had been made ready. So when you hear a minister come and say that, well, they did not want to be evacuated and they stayed there till the end when we started spilling, that in itself is even an admission, because when there is danger, and you know that there is danger, you, the state agency, make sure that one way or the other, the people leave before you start. So is she telling us then that the conclusion that they came to us, well, if the people will leave, just spill the water? That is what she's saying.
Maybe she's saying the state doesn't have capacity to move people.
No, but if the state does not have capacity to move people, basically what she's saying is a tacit admission, because I can make that inference that, well, we told the people to move. As at last month, we were telling them to move. They said they won't move. So we had to spill, so we spilled. What happens to them is their fault. Basically, that's what she's saying.
The speech didn't show empathy.
At all, you see. And it did not show a proper understanding of perhaps what was supposed to happen. We've crossed that bridge. People have come in to help. The VRA itself has tried to do things, fix the mistakes. Ghanaians have come in to support. Do not come and sit behind the microphone, stand behind the microphone, and do victim blaming. It's callous. I'm sorry.
Sky, so just a quick thought on the Sanitation Minister. Do you get the same interpretation that
I get that. Except that I want to put... I think the minister hasn't read the room, and perhaps is not alive to his responsibilities. She's not. Yes, forgive me. Because you're the minister responsible for water resources and sanitation. Now, these are the 2 critical areas currently creating the problems and then also exacerbating the problem. Because first of all, what are we talking about? Spillage of water, excess water from the Akosombo Dam. That has led to people's homes being decimated, fishing wiped out, and people are being forced now to drink water from unhygienic sources. So if you look at it, cholera is looming big, and other waterborne diseases are about setting in. Today I was reading to you a story about, cholera outbreak, according to someone who understands the situation. So if you are the minister for water resources and your job is to ensure sanitation, and we are told that people can't bath properly using clean water, we are told that people are not drinking from hygienic sources. If you don't have anything useful to say, just shut up. You don't wear dark glasses and then say the kinds of things that you say.
She was wearing dark.
Yes, she was wearing what appears to be dark glasses. It's like you must not speak all the time as a minister.
It's not every time that you have to speak.
Exactly, because look, people are sending water just to support others. People are sending their money just to support where government is failing. We should be hearing you say that, Ghana Water Company Limited has stopped supplies to these communities because of A, B, C, D. In the interim, we are marshalling about 100 trucks, water tankers or whatever it is, to move water from surrounding communities to supply these people in order to avert the possibility of A, B, C, D. That is your responsibility as a government. You have not announced that too. The best you can do is to go to whatever function it was to now blame the people. Now, Bernard, you and I went to Topo. The place that the people are being held as a safe haven, they don't have quality water there. They are still relying on the polluted water.
Yeah.
The rooms they are staying in, these are classrooms with no windows.
No door.
No door. The floor is just like that. They don't even have mattresses to sleep on.
They are sleeping on the bare floor.
The women are throwing their cloth on the floor.
It's terrible.
To sleep on it.
It's terrible.
Yes, it is the case that many of the people may not be living in mansions and all of that, but they had places that were decent enough for them to live in.
And they couldn't salvage anything.
Exactly. And they lost everything. The woman I spoke to, the widow I spoke to. Yes. The only thing that she took from her house was the things, the black cloth that she was wearing. So you don't come and climb the high horse and preach to the people down there and say that, oh, we told them to leave and they did not leave. The state of emergency powers available to the president grants him the authority to declare that, look, this thing is about happening. We are moving you whether you like it or not. And you prepare to ensure that the people get a decent place to live. If you have failed your responsibility as a government, you have failed as a minister, the last thing you do is to go to a public function and blame the people. It is utterly irresponsible. And if it were some other place, other country, by now you'll be out of office because you are not sensitive to the plight of the people. Have we seen her there in these communities asking, oh, how are you drinking? What water are you drinking? How can we improve your condition? How can we get potable water to you? This is the plan to do it. We have not seen you do that. Yet you are wearing fine cloth, standing before people and blaming people who don't. Look, these people have not come to you over the years to ask you for anything. They go do their small fishing. They take that. They go to the woman who likes frying it, sell it to the woman, take that money, go and buy agbeli or something. That is how they have been surviving. For so many years before we built the Akosombo Dam, we disrupted their lives. People had to be relocated. Yet you have come to disrupt their lives. People are living in places that are strange to them. They can't buy food.
Let me read the official announcement the VRA made on September 12th to put this in context, for which reason the minister's position is very wrong. Because look at the press release. Control spillage of water from Akosombo Dam and Pong. The Volta River Authority wishes to inform the general public that it has observed a consistent rise in the inflow pattern and water level of the Akosombo Dam. In line with our emergency preparedness plan and standard operating procedure, the VRA has duly notified its key stakeholders of this development. The reservoir level as of today suggests that we may need to commence controlled spilling in the coming days should the situation persist. VRA therefore wishes to caution all residents along the Volta Basin and downstream of our Akosombo Bong dams to be on alert and take the necessary precautionary measures. VRA will continue to monitor the situation, work with our key stakeholders, and provide regular updates to ensure prompt response in any emergency that may arise. Issued by Corporate Affairs and External Relations Unit, VRA, September 2023. So that's, of course, they say they did consultation with stakeholders. But the main message here, and of course, there's another statement that they issued after the operation also in May. But this is the statement. It's a very general statement that all residents, so it's basically the responsibility is on the people to move. They didn't say the VRA will collaborate with stakeholders to move people or the VRA will ask people to leave. They are basically saying you are cautioned to be on alert and take the necessary precautionary measures.
Bernard, two questions.
Very general.
Where is the NADMO statement on evacuation prior to this?
I'm looking for...
Where is the Ministry of
Interior,
Sanitation and Water Resources? Where is their statement on that evacuation? And what the people were supposed to do? So, you see, that's why it makes her statement particularly irritating. Okay, and was completely uncalled for. You see, because the situation has happened.
Yeah.
People have tried, those experts have spoken and said you were overwhelmed. The authorities were overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. We've tried to make sense out of this for the people. The people are also trying to make sense out of it. Do not come and victim blame.
Yeah. Don't
come and add insult. Don't talk at all.
Yeah.
You see,
if you can't
provide
support,
don't talk.
Don't upset.
But to come and say that, oh, now government has to spend millions. So it's like, because of your actions, money that could have done something is now being used to create this and this and this.
As if the government has the money.
I'm coming. The Company facility that is there, it has a clinic. There are schools.
The mortuary.
There. If they had indeed prepared,
How are
to
they
move.
flooding power stations?
How are they flooding those places?
And power stations are not, they have to shut down power. Water treatment plants are down. So the water treatment plant should move.
So doctors and nurses
I mean, what
did
are you
not know
talking
that they needed to be evacuated.
Cemeteries are overrun. That one
You didn't
this is
you didn't move
unbelievable.
the expensive medical equipment that is in those places that you spent money to buy. But suddenly it's the people, it's the poor. You see, it's always about blame the poor people.
Yeah.
Oh, poor people. If this had happened in East Airport, you will be telling the residents of East Airport that it is their fault.
Because they have a voice. Which is why it's important.
This is poor people. You are talking now to poor people as usual.
That's why we have to give voice to them. Because when you don't hear their story, you think that they are just some.
You think they are just.
like,
think they are non-entities.
no, you
and they
feel
don't
like
matter.
they are like irresponsible. They are not serious. This is really wrong.
It's a matter of agency.
I think
You
that,
see-
there's a press briefing today by the Minister of Information. I think the ministry should correct that impression that the Sanitation Minister has created and apologize to the people for what has happened. And so here are some quick comments on the issues to do with flooding and some reactions coming through. 054 998 6996.
Okay. This one says, may you and the boys live long. The way I want to give it to the minister, she should thank Godfred and Richard and the whole team. All right, this one says, my wife lives and teaches at Mepe, so I'm always at Mepe. Okay. Richard has spoken my mind. The minister's position is very, very wrong and irritating. God should forgive her. I rest my case. Nanaji Ebo, Gulf City Tema says, did the minister expect the people to move with their buildings? He said, these people in power, Ghana. This one says, Bernard, the flooding of the Volta Lake upstream started about 2 months ago. It is those floodwaters that flowed downstream to Akonsombo to trigger the spillage. Strangely, VRA failed to predict the volumes to hit the dam, to plan and start gradual spillage, but waited until it hit Akosombo, and that caused the resultant heavy spillage. Seriously, VRA has been a failure. BB in North Cape. What's the sanitation minister saying? Blaming the people? These people have lived there all their lives. Spillages have taken place year after year, and nothing like this happened. Did the VRA simulation exercise tell the people the quantum of water they were going to spill? Why didn't VRA spill gradually when water levels were going up until it had to get to critical levels? People need to be serious. Kwesi Akwa from Sakumono. This one says, I just heard the Minister of Sanitation saying that there were simulations and warnings to prepare for the spillage. Such a simulation would have been so huge an exercise, we would have all heard it. How come Citi FM missed it? The government and her employees are trying to cover up their mess. We were here. The Minister of Education said he had trained 40,000 teachers, and no one seemed to know of such a massive training. This has been at what's Frida Prempe saying? She told the people to move where? Her house? This attitude of political appointees blaming citizens unnecessarily must stop. Kofi from Musu. Hi, Bernard and team. On the topic of the speech by the minister, I can say that it's a classic example of giving positions to people who are not qualified in the name of politics. It's an absolute shame. All they needed was to engage the military with their trucks to evacuate people to a place prepared with amenities. Shameful. That's from TK. This one says, please, can these ministers stop making irresponsible comments when they put citizens' lives at risk? Did the VRA ever say or estimate the volume of water to be spilled? And for how many days? Ghana needs proper leaders. Edmond in B Hills. This one says, it looks like these government people are under a spell. Almost every comment I've heard from them in connection with the spillage has been over the bar. No empathy, no emotional intelligence at all. We really need to check the people we put into public office. Eric in Dansoman. Another one says, this woman just returned from a cabinet retreat. What was she doing before the retreat? Richard in
But you see, that also reinforces the matter. That when they went to the cabinet
did they go and
retreat,
see?
what did they go and discuss there? As to give her the kahunas to come out and speak the way she did.
Ouch.
Because there must have been some serious discussion about what's happening downstream and upstream. So that if all of those things will be factored into a government policy response, which will be announced later today.
Then we rewrite your notes before you come.
Yes.
Rewrite the notes. If this one is the punishment, then please.
But
We know-
he's not the one who went to speak.
No, we are just saying.
I would imagine that she was at that cabinet meeting.
No, we are just saying.
So
We are preempting. If that is what you are going to say today, rewrite the script.
I don't
You are
think-
better than that.
I don't think he's going to say that.
Yo,
I don't think he's going
we
to
are
say
waiting.
that.